Welcome to الكرامة News Service. Arab Libyan armed forces took control of the coastal road west of Tripoli following heavy fighting against terrorist Fajr Libya militias in Tobia and Maya areas, as well as 27th camp. A military source confirmed that the armed forces are now on the outskirts of Zawiya city after surrounding the southern side of the city in Shalghuza and Abu Sarra areas, noting that the armed forces took control of most areas of Warishfana that overlooking the coastal road in Tripoli. Military sources said terrorist Fajr Libya militias fully burned home of House of Representatives member for Warishfana Ali Keshir in Tripoli. Fierce fighting broke out between Arab Libyan armed forces and terrorist militias in Tripoli, in which the army achieved significant progress in the capital and seized control of some areas. Member of Dialogue Committee of House of Representatives Abu Bakr Ba'ira said the Parliament has already finished the study of the UN final draft sponsored by the UN. Ba'ira said the Parliament sent its observations on the draft to the UN Secretary General via email, adding that he called on members of the EU to provide the support for his country in its fight against terrorism and illegal immigration, and to provide humanitarian support and intensify the Union's efforts for development in Libya through the Economic Cooperation Project introduced by Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Tunisian President Baji Essebsi said in an interview with Al Hiwar, a Tunisian dialogue channel, that the situation in Libya is complex and it harms the Tunisian security. Essebsi noted that his country is following the latest developments in Libya, east and west, asserting that his country's interest forced Tunisia to deal with the internationally non-recognized rescue government of the outgoing council in Tripoli. The statement comes with a framework of Tunisian concession of supporting Tripoli government, the main supporter of terrorism in Libya, from which Tunisia suffers. The interim government today issued a decision under which Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation can repay remittances to embassies and diplomatic missions. The decision comes as the payment of remittances to Libyan embassies has been halted since last September. According to the decision, those remittances are due to be counted within ministry allocations for the financial year 2015. Moreover, the decision will be effective since the date of its issuance. An EU diplomatic source said EU Chief for European Foreign Policy Federica Mogherini will not call on the UN to pass a resolution allowing the strike of migrant smugglers' boats in the Mediterranean and Libyan land. According to sources, Mogherini will contact members of the UN Security Council on Monday within the framework of mandate of the latest European summit that took place in Brussels in April 23 to clarify dimensions of the European positions towards illegal immigration in the Mediterranean. The German government said in a statement that its navy rescued about 400 migrants from drowning in the Mediterranean. A spokesman for the German Defense Ministry said the first rescue operation took place about 250 kilometers south of the Italian island Lampedusa and saved 200 migrants, and the second about 70 kilometers from the Libyan coast and saved 180 people. Two pieces of German navy, Hessen and Berlin, have started work in the maritime area located between Libya and Italy to support the Italian authority in rescue operation in the Mediterranean. Airlines announced the resumption of flights to the Algerian capital at the rate of 2 flights per week to facilitate citizens' movement between the two countries. During a ceremony held on this occasion, Libyan ambassador to Algeria, Mohammed Mukhtar Mazen, welcomed the resumption of flights between the two countries, describing the event as an initiative to restore communication between the two brotherly peoples. For his part, Director of Commercial Management of Airlines, At-Tahir Al-Maghrani, asserted that resuming the air route between the two countries reflects the keenness of the two governments on boosting cooperation relations. And still from Libya, Deputy General Director of Displaced Office Abroad, Nermin Al-Sharif, announced that an agreement on an appropriate mechanism to limit and pay financial aid to the displaced families in Egypt and Tunisia before the holy month of Ramadan has been reached. This came as the committee held a meeting with Prime Minister Abdullah Al-Thani, the Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, and the Chairman of the Displaced Committee of House of Representatives in the Prime Minister headquarters in Al-Bayda. Arab coalition launched airstrikes on Houthi militia strategic sites in Sada province following a previously specified deadline for the civilians exit. This came as clashes between Houthi militias and the opposition broke out in the southern city of Aden. The airstrikes targeted the leadership centers of militia leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi and destroyed the headquarters of spokesman for militia leadership Muhammad Abdul Salam in Sahar Directorate. And now from Iraq, Iraqi sources said 63 people were killed, including 12 policemen, in clashes between security forces and inmates trying to escape from prison northeastern of the country. Moreover, the spokesman for Interim Ministry Brigadier Saad Main Ibrahim said 200 prisoners managed to escape during the clashes, noting that among the escapees were people charged with terrorism. This comes as security forces cordoned off the area in search of the prisoners. Meanwhile, a car bomb exploded in Al-Karada district, center of the country, killing at least 8 civilians and wounding 28 others. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met today in Moscow as celebrations were underway marking the 70th anniversary victory over Nazi Germany. The two countries pledged to increase bilateral cooperation. Putin said, "I know that you inherited a difficult household," adding, "We will do everything to join efforts in our work so our joint work would benefit both Russia and Egypt." For his part, al-Sisi said, "We are very interested in strengthening ties with Russia." Last August, Putin and al-Sisi discussed the possibility of setting up an Egyptian transport logistics hub on the Russian Black Sea coast and the creation of a Russian industrial hub in Egypt as part of its Suez Canal development project. And now from Nepal, the United States looked set to increase its air support today to provide more supplies and help to rebuild Nepal. United States Marine Major Chris DeMaras said, "Where our benefits comes in is we have the capability to lift more than a traditional helicopter. So we have the ability to increase the amount of supplies we are getting into some of these more remote locations." For his part, United States Marine Colonel John Leno said, "The biggest challenge we have encountered is just the operating environment. It's a unique environment for us. It's Nepal." He added that there are severe elevations and it's severe topography, so each mission has to be carefully planned. Nepal possessed challenges for the U.S. Marines, with the country having both flat plains and the Himalayas. And finally, an Airbus military transport plane crashed in Syria today, killing at least 3 of those on board. Emergency services said in the first fatal accident involving Europe's newest troops and heavy cargo carriers. The plane was on a test flight when it crashed on a field 1.6 kilometers north of Civil San Pablo Airport. An emergency services spokesman said 7 people were on board, 3 had died, 2 were seriously injured, and and 2 more were accounted for. Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy earlier today reported on the campaign trail for May 24 local elections that it seemed all those on board worked at airports and were not military staff. He cancelled his political rallies for the day. My audience, this is the wrap-up of our top stories. For much more, you can check our website www.watanelkarama.tv. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.